In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up an outpost on any planet of your choosing as long as it's, well, relatively friendly enough, and I'm going to show you how I got this one. Now, when picking a planet, you want a planet that has a ton of resources, so scan it before you pick it and make sure it's a place where you're willing to build. Like, this one's nice and pretty, and that's pretty much why I chose it. Might not be the best for certain resources, but it does offer a few things that I might need. Now, in order to start an outpost, all you have to do is open up your scanner with F, if you're on PC at least, and then you press R or the outpost button at the bottom of the screen there to set up a new outpost beacon, I guess it's called, yeah. Now, one thing you need to be very aware of is the available resources at the top left. Now, when I place this down, it will make a giant circle radius, and it allows me to place extractors to harvest the resources that you can see at the top left. Now, in some areas, you might not have the iron or the alkanies or the water. And as you move around and find different locations, you might even find more or even less resources. Ideally, you want to be in a spot where you try to grab as many different resources in one little area. You can see that I placed my one right over here. So this is the outpost beacon that you can place. It seems you can have 8 of them. At least I right now have access to 8 of them that you can place on very different planets. If you want to know where I set up, just look at the map, at the galaxy map. You'll see Sol and Alpha Centauri, and we'll basically be going all the way to the right over here until you see like the cricks, and I'm actually right near the cricks and I'm in a galaxy system called Mufrid, Muprid, right over here. Inside this system, I am on Mufrid IV, which is this one over here, and you can see the available resources at the bottom left. Like I said, you're going to want to be on a planet that has resources that you can farm and harvest, because building an outpost requires a ton of resources and components. Now, for the purpose of today's video, I really wanted to show you how to set up extractors so that you can start farming resources either to sell or to further upgrade your base, as well as making these storage crates, which you can store a bunch of your resources in. And trust me, they come in handy by a lot, especially once your inventory and your ship's inventory are full. So let's go ahead and interact with the outpost beacon. When you see here, we can press E. You can also press R to rename it, but we're going to press E to go build. And this opens up a build mode, which gives you a ton of different options at the top right side there, as you can see here. You can get items specifically for your quest, extractors, which allow you to extract the resources that are available in your area. So you will have different extractors from what I have. Currently, I have extractors for H2O, which is water, and extractor for iron, because unfortunately, I built this thing in an area where I could not extract the alkanese gas. Now, if we look at the iron extractor, you'll see here it's in red. We actually cannot place it. You actually have to place this over specific iron like areas, right? So if I go ahead and I walk over here, you can see suddenly I can place it, and you can see the ground is like red here. If I get out of the building mode here and I press F, you'll actually be able to see when I scan the ground, you'll see it says iron. This is where you can extract iron from. It's literally just an area of the ground. You can see here on the left, on this side over here, there was nothing to extract. So all my extracting sites or resources are here. You're going to want to take this into account before you place down your outpost beacon. So I'm going to go back here to the beacon, access the build mode, and we're actually going to run back there, and I'm going to place an iron extractor. This does require power, but I have built power systems, which I'll show you how they work now. So I'm going to place this right over here. It's going to produce iron as time goes by. So go ahead and place it down in an area that you can. I'm going to just press E, nice and easy. Once you've placed it down, you can press tab to go into the modify mode, just like this. And now you're going to create a link, an output link, right? I'm actually going to have this move all of its resources, all the iron that it produces, into a large storage. But first, you're going to have to build the storage. So I'm going to hit tab again, and we're going to go into the building menu. If we press C, you'll see here we have power options, right? You either can build solar arrays, which can produce power. As you can see at the top left over there, it produces 6 power, at least on this planet. I think in different planets, it gives you different power amounts. You could also build wind turbines or a fueled generator that you'll actually have to put helium into. You can see here I have 3 wind turbines as well as 1 solar array, and it has a total power output of 24, which you can track at the bottom right of your screen. You'll see the needed power option is how much power you need to run everything. So you got to make sure that needed power is always lower than the total power, so that you're always able to, build more extractors and whatnot. Going on to the next screen over here will be storage, right? So we have the transfer container, which is more for your ship, which we're not going to talk about right now. The storage that we're going to talk about is the storage for solid, liquid, and gas. As you can imagine, solid would be things like iron, which will have this cube icon right over there. So most resources, when you're tracking them with your scanner, will show a cube icon to show that it's solid. If it's a liquid, it will have a water drop thing. Like for example, H2O will have to be stored in this storage over here. And for gas, like the alkanes, you'll see is represented by a gas cloud. And this is, well, to store gas in it. Now, since we're extracting iron, we actually have a solids storage so that it can store solid items. Now we're going to go back into modify mode by pressing tab. And then what we're going to do is create a link between this and this so that it moves everything from here into here as this thing produces iron. So what we're going to do is click the create output link, which for me is right click or mouse option 2. So right click. And then you can see you can actually move it across to where you want to move it to. And then here we're going to go ahead and press E, and that's going to link it just like this. You can actually go a step further and actually move another storage thing next to this and have this one transfer all of its inventory into that one, and so on and so forth. So it's just kind of like Minecraft hoppers in a way, if you think about it like that. So iron gets produced, it gets stored in here, and then if there's a one next to it, you can have it move across, move across, move across, move across as you start collecting a ton of it, or you feel like you're not going to come to this outpost for a while, which if you're having 8 outposts, maybe you won't be here for a couple hours, or you might even forget. Now, talking about more things that you can build in your outpost area, let's go ahead to the next screen over here, which is structures. You can build things like an airlock, which you can see I actually already have over here, as well as like different like habs and stuff that you can attach to it so that you can, have your own like little building space. And if I exit this building mode and I go in here, I can quickly show you what my hab looks like. Of course, by default, this room will be empty. You can see I filled it up with a ton of these storage crates because I have way too many resources, because I decided to spend 100,000 credits literally at the Crimson Fleet buying every single resource from the general store, which is actually how I recommend you get a ton of resources fairly easy. You just spend the money that you're making. And if you're doing a ton of quests like I am, you will have a lot of money. I literally get so much money from the quests I do in this game. Of course, you can also mine those resources manually from different worlds, as well as finding the components in different, areas of questing. But sometimes it's so mad because there are literally tons of different types of like components, as you can tell here. It's hard to keep up with. You can also build a series of workbenches and things that you can craft, like medicines, upgrade your, I think this was for your suits. No, this one's for the suits. This one is to add mods on your weapons, I believe. Here's a research lab to research new mods for your weapons. The crew station, if you want to have your crew be assigned to certain things. And then these different machines, like one to access the mission board for, I think it was for, who is this for? It was for whoever these people were. I can't remember. I think they were the part of the VC or UC, or I don't remember. And then you can also get a self-service bounty clearance where you can clear or pay your bounties so that people don't track you down everywhere you go. Because I killed so many people, that was a problem for me. So you can always customize that. In our next screen here, we have the crafting, which you can see is like the industrial workbench, the cooking station, pharmaceutical lab, all these different things that you can craft to use for different purposes. The next one is defenses. Now, this is more something to keep like those monsters like that one that walked into my base at the beginning of this video, like out and, just killing them. It does require power to power these defenses. It also might be nice if you set up a certain quest thing here, which I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's dependent on whether you want to defend your outpost or your ship. Our next option is furniture. You will notice I have a random couch over here, and this is honestly just so that I can sit on and change the time of day so that I can do stuff during the day instead of nighttime, because nighttime is dark. And in your decorations tab, the next one here, you'll find the storage crate, which is the one thing you're probably going to want to build a ton of. You can actually access different variants of it by pressing Q and T, so you can see like different types of storage crates. But I do believe the hold that they can hold is pretty much the same for each one, because all the build requirements are the same. It's just like the cosmetic look. If you want like massive storage crates, if you want smaller ones, it's up to you on how you want to build these. They don't really hold all that much, but you're going to have a ton of them. Like you saw, I have 6 outside and I have like a bunch inside. You can build as many as you need. And then on the next one is displays, which you can build like a mannequin, which you can display your armor on if you're collecting armor displays and you want to have them showcased. You also got a display case, a helmet case, weapon racks, things that you'll see like in the normal world, just to show off your items, I guess, in, a nice, creative setting. And then you'll have miscellaneous, which is like a scan booster, which boosts your hold F scanner. The main one here that you will like the most is probably the landing pad with ship builder, which is actually this massive thing right behind me, which allows you to, like, land your ship here when you come here. Or you can have the small landing pad if you can't afford the big one just yet. As I'm sure you've noticed, there are a ton of different building requirements for all of these different buildings, and you will have to go ahead and find all of those different resources in different locations, looting them or buying them from general resources stores from like all the different like major settled systems, which is honestly how I've been getting mine for really cheap, actually, relative to how much money I make from the quests, at least. And that's pretty much how you can get started with outposts in the game. It will require you to fetch a lot of resources, but like I said, go get them from the stores. It's honestly easier than having to go find them one by one manually by luck. And oh my god, he's running up to me, guys. I gotta end the video. Okay, bye. Thanks.